curfew hour was extended by an hour for motorists on Thika Road. Let's see how that goes. Let's look at a different story now. Reports of a fresh scheme by certain political players to remove and replace IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati and the other two remaining commissioners have emerged. President Uhuru Kenyatta's move to announce the 4 vacant positions in the electoral body is being seen as part of a wider scheme to have Chebukati and 2 of his colleagues, Abdi Gulie and Boya Molu, exit the commission after the 4 have been replaced. The Chebukati team had already been indicted for misappropriation of funds at the commission in a report prepared by the Public Accounts Committee recommending their removal. KTN senior political reporter Chris Thairu reports.
For 3 years now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has been operating with only 3 commissioners in office since the resignation of 4 other commissioners. And the president has already announced the 4 vacancies, and the process to recruit new commissioners should start this week. The move has, however, exposed the remaining 3 commissioners, Chairman Chebukati, Abdi Gulie and Boya Molu, with a fresh plot to oust them after the 4 new commissioners report in office. According to a senior official at the Raila Odinga-led ODM party, the plan is to replace the 4 commissioners first to avoid any vacuum, then turn their guns on the 3 commissioners and seek their exit at the agency as part of the electoral reforms ahead of the 2022 general election. Article 251 of the Constitution is clear on the removal of IEBC commissioners, and constitutional lawyers argue that it will be a tall order for the schemers to actualize their plot.
We are about 15 months shy of the next election, which means we have a very short time, a very short window within which commissioners must be in place so that then they are to be in office properly, capable of handling the next general election. That being the case, then we cannot combine the issue of the Chebukati commission, Chebukati and the other commissioners who are in office with the appointment of the new commissioners, because the processes are different and requires timelines which cannot be met in the circumstances.
The plotters of the scheme are said to be banking on a report by the Public Accounts Committee on the financial statements of the electoral body that had recommended investigations against the commissioners of alleged conflict of interest in the procurement of electoral equipment at inflated cost during the 2017 polls. The report was adopted by the National Assembly in April 2019.
Obviously, those who want to remove them, they have to advance those grounds and present them before a tribunal, which will be investigating the conduct for the removal of these commissioners. Now, the issue is not whether the grounds exist or not. The issue is whether there is a sufficient time to ensure that this tribunal constitutionally can be able to sit, investigate these commissioners, and then remove them from office before we move to the next stage of getting fresh commissioners to be appointed. Remember, one of the persons who is going to be removed, if the removal is to be anything, is the chair of the commission.
In 2016, the Isaac Hassan-led IEBC team had to negotiate with the Joint Committee of Parliament and bargained for 314 million shillings send-off package by passing the legal procedure of forming a tribunal. And with the process of replacing the 4 commissioners yet to start and the much-hyped referendum exercise through the BBI bill dragging due to COVID-19 restrictions, legal minds are ruling out any possibility of pushing the election's date and consequently extending the term of the president.
It will be important to keep within the time frames as spelled out in the Constitution. Okay. But the Constitution itself talks about emergencies if you're in a state of war, but I don't think you can extend the life of Parliament or the presidency just anyhowly. Okay. I think that would be highly controversial.
So the only other way anybody will change the election date is to do it by force, outside the law, without regard to the law, and which means you need to have all the institutions illegally supporting you to have that process continue, for you to be in office, to be paid without really following the due process.
Meanwhile, the agencies that are supposed to nominate their members to sit in the selection panel, including the Parliamentary Service Commission, Interfaith Council, Law Society of Kenya, among others, are expected to submit the names of their nominees to the Parliamentary Service Commission for transition to the President for appointment this week. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
Great. Let's look at a story, a political one, that will have lots of political implications.